Hi, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to all of you, wherever you're calling in from around the world or around Singapore. Okay, there are a few more folks that are coming. We'll just wait a minute or so, then we will get going. Okay, while you're waiting, I will ask you to take a look at the screen in case you sign up for Better Parenting during COVID-19. This is not the seminar. This is getting started with Zoom for ministry. And it's a privilege for Lillian, Angeline, and myself to serve you in this webinar. So you should see on the screen the link to the slide deck, and we'll also put it in the chat so that you can take a quick look at what's, let me type that in for everybody. So the reason why we're giving you this link is so that you can also just follow along. Yeah. We have more folks coming in to join us. Okay, I think we want to get started. My name is Simon Xiao, and it's a privilege for me to be hosting this very brief webinar to get you acquainted with getting started with Zoom for ministry. And let me bring to the screen so I can, okay. Lillian and I will be facilitating, and also near the end, you hear from Angeline Ko, who shares some examples of how you can use Zoom for ministry. And I know that's upon your heart. This is something that will equip us to be more effective, especially in doing ministry from a distance. So I want to really affirm you guys. I know this is really hard work. For some of us, it is treading on really unfamiliar grounds. Okay, let me pause for a moment. I think some of you are having troubles with audio. Yes. Make sure you click connect to audio. Okay, let me just make sure that we get everybody all set up. The rest of you okay? Can you give me a thumbs up? Okay, good. Please make sure you're connected to audio. All right, bear with us. I think there are a few folks that are trying to come in as well. Welcome, the rest of you who just joined us. Make sure you click connect to audio. Thank you, Angeline, for helping us. Bottom left of the screen, you should see a microphone icon, but just mute your own mics for now. Okay. Okay, let me go back and let's start up again. If you want to follow along in the slide deck, it is that short link there, ndgt / getting started. Okay, he says, I can listen now. That's great. Why don't I pray for us and then we will get going. Okay, let's pray for good, smooth connection. Yeah. Dear Jesus, thank you that this is an opportunity for us to be better equipped for ministry. Thank you for my brothers and sisters around the world, around Singapore, who are choosing to be equipped and learn how we can apply this well. So guide our time and give us good connection. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
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 Okay. Amen. So Lillian and I will be facilitating this time, and Angeline Ko will join us shortly to share some examples. I was just starting off with this picture I really love. You know, of how we really live in unprecedented times, but we can manage it. You know, we need guide sometimes, but it is an opportunity for us to navigate together. So I want to commend you that you're making an awesome choice. Proud of you that you're taking steps to grow, to learn, to stretch yourself. Sometimes beyond what we're comfortable, but this is so critical. And my desire is to kind of help you be comfortable with a little bit of the technology and provide you with the tools and resources. So the slide deck that we mentioned earlier would present you with quite a number of links and resources that you can pursue after this call. Okay. All right, so I think I will pass the time right now to Lillian to start up with the basics. I don't know if she's back on. She had some trouble.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, good.
Hi, everybody. My name is Lillian, and I'm just gonna go through very quickly some of the basics for setting up a Zoom call. Before that, I just want to mention some basic tips. So for Zoom etiquette, mute yourself when you are in a meeting unless you are about to speak. This is so that you don't suddenly appear on somebody's screen if there's a noise in your surroundings. And at the top right corner, you will be able to change from speaker view to gallery view. If you click on the button, gallery view, you'll be able to see everybody who's attending the call. All right, so let me share my screen. So I'll just show you the basics of how to schedule a meeting in Zoom. So once you've logged into your account, and on the top left corner, there the menu. Okay, if you click on meetings, it will bring you to this page. To schedule a new meeting, just click on this button. And you can, let's say, name your meeting. That I will call it just for now, Zoom training. You can give an optional description of the meeting, and then you set up the date and time. So be very careful of the time zone, because you don't want to set up your call and then it happens 12 hours later in the US. So always check the time zone that you are scheduling. So I will, find Singapore time and set it up for 11 p.m. tonight, just for fun. And the duration of the call, you can set here. Now I've had questions asking like, does Zoom cut you off when your 1 hour is up? It doesn't, right? It doesn't until you end the meeting. So you don't have to worry about that. In setting up a meeting, you can also decide whether you want people to register. And the meeting ID can be either generated automatically. That means they give you a new ID for each meeting, or you can use your personal ID. So for recommendation, I would suggest that you do generate automatically just for security's sake, and require a meeting password. So if you have a paid account, you can actually set the password to whatever you want. For example, test or Zoom training. For video, you want to turn yourself on, and participants, that's for you to decide whether you want them to come in and show their faces, then you can turn that on. In audio, I would just select both. For some of the meeting options, okay, let me explain them. To enable join before host, that means they can enter the room before you go in, right? If you check this option. Yeah, mute participants for an entry that is recommended. Now, enable waiting room. Some of you were in the waiting room just now. That means that if you come in before the host has started the meeting, you will just be in a room waiting for the host to start. All right, so it's up to you whether you want to decide to enable waiting room for your meeting. Only authenticated users can join. What this means is that the person who's coming in, if you select this, they have to have already an account in Zoom. So the unique feature about Zoom is that they can attend a meeting even if they don't have a Zoom account. So if you don't need that, you can not select that. And you can record your meeting automatically on the local computer. That means once your meeting begins, it will start recording on your own laptop or desktop and not into the cloud. So if you've done all these settings, you just save it. So Zoom gives you the feature that you can add it onto your calendar, the event, the meeting that you've set up. Take note, this is the meeting ID. In other words, if somebody goes to the Zoom app and asks to join a meeting, they need to have this ID and the password. This is a new feature that's recently added by Zoom. Now, if you want to invite people to the meeting, you can click on this, copy the invite, all right? And they will give you a text that's already been formatted. You can copy this and then send this in an email to anybody that you want to invite. So the important thing to remember is the meeting ID and the password. If you send this link to your invitee, the password is already encoded in it. So they don't need to type that password in again if they enter through the link. If they enter just, for example, through the Zoom app on their, the machine or their device, they will need to sign in or they'll need to join the meeting. Sorry, let me do that again. If they want to join a meeting, then they'll need to enter the meeting ID and the password, okay? Yep, so that's the basics of signing in or scheduling a call and setting your basic options. Yeah, back to you, Simon.
So I know some of you may be already overwhelmed. Don't worry, this is part of getting you started. Okay, we will provide links to specific training on like how you can start a meeting, what the very 1 minute, 2 minute videos that help you get going. So don't worry. Let me continue. We want to cover a few more things that are very helpful for you. Meeting controls, recording the calls, how do you do a screen share like what you saw Lillian did, and making somebody a co-host. I'll cover this in a demo shortly. Then I want to cover a few things like what are some of the unique features. Here we're talking about Zoom for ministry, right? What are some of the things that helps us basically have better connections with the people we are trying to relate with? And I'll share some principles shortly also. And we can also have the option to broadcast to YouTube or Facebook Live. You see the snapshot here where when you click more, especially when you are a host, you can have more options to do things, right? And polls, etc. Okay, so I'm going to move into a quick demo. For that, I'm going to turn on a video called Camera 2. Let me stop share for a while. And you should be able to see on your screen, I'm going to spotlight the video. Okay, can you guys see this camera that's looking at my computer? Awesome. All right, so this is kind of a hack, right, to show you that what I'm doing on the computer, all right? So this is kind of the Zoom window. I can see the participants, right? So on the bottom here is where the list, right, of what I can do, screen share, polling, manage participants, right? When I click manage participants, on the right, it will show this particular segment here. Okay, I'll try to go slow. For example, I can go to Angeline Ko and I can unmute her, right? So these are all very important meeting controls. You can click more and I can do a variety of things. I can ask to start the video if they are not already showing. I can stop their video. Spotlight video is in the meeting, you just want to make sure that that video is forced to be on that screen, like what I'm doing right now. And the other thing that you want to know is if you are setting up this meeting as a host, you can make co-host. Okay, if you look on the top, can you see that somebody is trying to come in? It says waiting, Carol and Trisha. So if you know these people are supposed to be in your meeting, you can admit them. Again, for security purposes, if you don't recognize it, you may want to double check, right? If not, you can just click admit all and they should be in the meeting, okay? So here is where you control the participants. All right, and then if you look at the bottom, here is where the chat is happening. Right, so a few things I want to highlight here is that you can do a direct chat with somebody. You can say everyone in the meeting or with somebody specific. And you notice it would say privately. So sometimes it defaults to a particular setting. You just got to be aware that what it's showing. If not, you might be saying something sensitive or funny to the whole group, right? When it's actually meant for one person. On the right here, if you see the three dots, if you click it, here is a few more things that you can do. Let me adjust this so you can see better. All right, so you can have the option of chatting with somebody, with host only, everyone publicly, and so on. So some of these things are a little bit more than you need at this point, but I just want to show you where they are so that you can play around with it. Okay, another one here that's really important is if you click more, you can do some things that are all together, right? You can mute everybody on entry, which is what's happened for you guys. One thing here I'll bring up later in terms of security is locking the meeting. You have the option to lock the meeting, which means no one else can join. Right, so I know there's been a number of security concerns. People are talking about Zoom. Here's where you can secure it. All right, and I'll talk about the other two ways, review it later as well. Okay, let me go to this part of the screen. All right, so on the bottom side here, you should be able to see where I can do the mute. Sorry, it's duplicating here, right? So you can mute your own audio, and it's always good to do this when you're not speaking. It shows you can do a keyboard shortcut as well. Then you click this arrow here, you can have a few other options of selecting where exactly is your audio coming from. It's the same with the video. There are some video settings. Or anytime you click on one of these things, right, where it says settings, it will pull up a different window. So the window will come up for you to do a variety of things. I don't have time to run through all, but you can play around with it on a call or test call with somebody. But this is where the further settings are found. Okay. Let me make sure I've covered most of the things that you need to know. One other thing I will bring up here is the screen share. So whenever you click screen share, this is where you get to share with all the participants in the call what's on your screen. When you click it, you get to choose which screen you want to share. So is it a desktop? Is it the screen where you have your slides and so on? You can even create a whiteboard where you can draw and annotate. There is a way to lock this so that only one participant can share at one time, or you can share simultaneously. Okay, and there are advanced sharing options as well. I won't go there for now. Okay, final thing, you can click record as we are doing right now, and it will indicate on the top left that the recording is happening. You guys see it? All right, that's good. Okay, I will try to give space for questions, but for now, I want to move on to some of the principles. Let me stop share. Stop my camera. Okay, as we move on to a slightly different segment, I just want to show you really quick. This is a Zoom meeting or fellowship with our worship team, and we had fun just kind of connecting in worship, in prayer. And even though we're not physically together, but it was really sweet fellowship, and because we were just trying to catch up, and we use this feature that's called breakout rooms. I realized that I didn't show that. I think that's important. Let me stop for a while. I want to make sure that I cover that. Yeah. Okay, where is that? Okay, back to this camera here. I'm going to spotlight it so you see it. You guys see my camera? Okay, good. So yeah, what I want to show you here is that you can do these breakout rooms. And I think for briefly, we'll just try to test it. I know some of you have experienced it. Some are new here. So I want to make sure that you get a feel for it. This is the place to click. Okay, you click breakout rooms. Again, let me emphasize, you need to be a host to see this. If you don't see this, that means that you've signed in just as a participant. There's no way you can have this option. If you sign in as an account, whether it's a free account or a paid pro account, you have breakout rooms. The only difference in a free account is that you only have 40 minutes max, right? So when you click breakout room, okay, you can see right now we have 56 participants, right? And you can choose how many rooms, up to 50 rooms, right? Basically, they break into smaller Zoom calls. So let's say if I want to choose 9 rooms, you can see that it will tell you about 6 to 7 participants per room. You have the option to do it automatically, which means it's randomly selected by Zoom, or you can do it manually. If you do it manually, what happens is when you create breakout rooms, let me show you what happens, right? It will show you the breakout rooms. You have the option to rename it if you like it, or you can delete the room, and you can choose assigning the room, right? So if you have a lot of people, this manual method is pretty massive, right? So you see I can assign Christopher with David, and let's say I want Angeline here, she's the facilitator, and I want Eileen. All right, so there's already 4 people in this room. Okay, so I won't do this option because it's quite a lot of work. So I would do automatic, right? And I'll recreate. So just for a minute or two, I want you to experience this. When you see join breakout room, just click it and say hello to each other. If you like, you introduce your name, and I'll bring you back right away. Okay, because we don't have a whole lot of time to. But I know some of you are new to Zoom here. Watch out in your screens. You should see something that says join a breakout room. Okay, and then briefly, I'll talk about why these are very helpful for your ministry. Okay, so again, when I create the breakout rooms, it hasn't started yet. It will tell you breakout room 1 has Ashley, Christopher, Hang Ping. You can still do an exchange, or you can move them to different rooms. Okay, this is useful because you may have facilitators that you want to make sure are part of a particular room. And you can delete the room if you like, or you can rename it to say, okay, this is talking about athletes, this is talking about students, and you do it accordingly. Now I'm going to open all the rooms. Okay, and you will also see I will try a broadcast message. I can send a message to all the rooms as a host. and then we'll come back quickly. All right, remember to look out on your screen and to join the breakout rooms. All right, here we go. If you guys are joining us on the video, you will not see the breakout rooms, but hi there. So people are starting to come back from the breakout rooms. Welcome back. That's awesome. You guys all did beautiful. So for those who are experiencing the first time, it felt like you teleported right into someone another place, and you are now connecting on a smaller scale with a group of people. So what happened was that I clicked close rooms, and you had about 60 seconds to come back, and then Zoom sort of forces you to come back. It says here all breakout rooms were closed in 4 seconds, right? Okay, let me go back to the screen share, because that's where we will get a chance to experience a little bit more. So as I shared, we use the feature of breakout rooms to sort of have a little bit more in-depth prayer and connection. I want to share a few principles that I believe will be helpful for you. I'll talk about advanced tips maybe a bit later. The question is, how do we Zoom like a pro? Right. So here are some principles that helps you. We've used Zoom in so many different settings, even before COVID, and we've used Zoom to connect groups from around the world when we did hackathons, and it was just a sense of like bringing us together even though we are apart. 6 C's of Zooming like a pro, okay? Your slides are available to you, so don't feel like you need to take notes, but take some mental notes to help you. Number 1, it needs to be conducive, right? So this happens when you have a good environment that doesn't have too much noise, whatever is helpful for you. But one of the things that we've said as a part of your Zoom etiquette is to mute your microphones when you're not speaking, right? And then it helps others focus on whoever is speaking or sharing. Zoom automatically will highlight the video or spotlight the video of the speaker. So if you are not speaking and presenting, even little noises like shuffling paper or clicking or pressing of buttons are picked up. So you got to be careful about that. Second C is a camera. We will use the camera. So especially in a setting where you're trying to build community, I highly recommend everybody turns on their video, unless for some reason they are having poor connection, they are moving around, or it's inconvenient, they haven't touched up their faces, but we would say just show yourself, because it keeps us connected. When I can see your eyes, it helps me know you are part of this, which leads to the center, the third point, center. We have to make it a discipline not to multitask, because it's very easy when you're on a computer, you have several screens open, you're still kind of checking your WhatsApp or your emails. It is important that this is happening right now. If you think of it in a physical setting, it's the same. You don't want people to be looking at their phones, texting while they are participating in Bible study. Yeah, so that's something that is very key. And we move on to the point about contributing, because when you are in a community, you want to hear from each other what we have. So I know sometimes it's awkward, right, to speak into a screen, right? But remember that there's someone listening to you. They are connecting with you. So when you contribute, people are actually absorbing. So that's why we say everybody needs to pay attention. Right. So in fact, you want to try to look at the camera when possible. It is like as if they are looking at you. So participate in the conversation, track along, and encourage others as well. I'll share some ideas on how to make that happen. Number 5 is important. Just like in any small group setting, you want to protect each other, right? If most of these calls that you do for discipleship or for ministry, you may not record them, so it's very safe for you to share, and whatever's shared in a group stays in a group. And finally, you have always opportunities to connect with others outside the call, right? The call brings a focal point for you to build that connection. But that doesn't mean that you cannot text the other person, you cannot call them, have a quick, brief, conversation. Okay, so these are the 6 C's of Zooming like a pro. It always helps to build this as a norm. In fact, and in any group, you want to say, hey, let's all agree on this. Right? That's why you notice I put the phrases as we will mute, we will not multitask, we will participate in the conversation, and so on. Knowing what to expect is always reassuring for people. All right, one of our focus is to make people at ease, because we are trying to use a medium to help us connect. So if they know what they can have expectations as well as accountability, it helps them to push into the group and participate well. So let me briefly just talk about this. I think what some of the tools that you see already demonstrated on Zoom allows you to do these things, right? It brings your eyes to attention to what's talked about. So like right now, I'm screen sharing. You can't see my face except this top little corner or on the right bar. So your eyes are forced to look at my slides, and that's good. That's my intention, right? And what's being talked about, and everyone's on the same page. So you use slide presentations, you use screen share like Lillian did to sort of draw your attention. Here's what I'm doing. Here's what I want you to think about, which is related to the mind. All right, here now you're engaging your mind, allowing people to interact with the content and what's being shared. So you want to have short discussions. Yeah, you don't want a one-way, right? In a normal group, I would probably pause here and say, "Hey, Martha, what did you think about this slide? What comes to mind? And Martha would unmute and share, right? And she's smiling at me now, which is so assuring, right? So notice that I directed it to a person. I don't just say, hey, what does everybody think? Sometimes it's hard in a large group, because we cannot we cannot read the social cues, right? Should I start? Should I wait for you? So it's important that in the call like that to basically invite somebody to share, right? You direct them. Then you can do short polls and quizzes, right? I'll show you in a minute how to do that. But finally, what it does is it draws your heart. It wants you to process what you are seeing, what you are hearing, what you are engaging with your mind. And what we just experienced in the breakout rooms allow you to do that. Right? Some of us in our Cruise Singapore meetings, we've done breakout rooms right after a worship time or right after we heard from God's word. Let's process for 10 minutes in a smaller group what's going on, right? And you can use a shared document on Google Docs or something similar, or on helping people asynchronously just type in what are they feeling and experiencing. Okay. All right, let me at this point do a quick poll just for fun. Let me stop a share and okay, I want you to look at your screen right now. You should see a poll come up. Do you see it? Lil, is it coming up?
Not showing.
Not showing. Can you help me launch it, Lil?
It says it's been launched actually.
Okay, let me
Can
try.
relaunch? I'll relaunch it.
You're relaunching it, is it?
Yes, yeah, it's showing now.
Do you guys see the poll? Okay, just go ahead and answer the poll, yeah. Some see it or some don't see it. Is that right?
Yes, probably seeing it now.
Okay, if you can, just answer the poll. Just can see. Okay, go ahead. Lil, if you see enough people participate, then you can
And
close the poll. But I did the poll especially for Ivan because I know I know how he likes to see himself in the reflection.
so
Okay, for
as
some of you who are not seeing the poll, I apologize. But basically, the poll says, when passing by a reflective surface, do I use it to see if anyone is following me? Or do I check myself out? Doesn't anyone? Doesn't everyone? And finally, do I use it to contemplate the deeper meaning of life? That's probably Ivan, right? Or maybe not. Okay, well, why don't you show the poll results for everybody?
Okay, so just a note that as a host, you can see how many people have voted. So for example, now we have 34 out of 53 of you who have voted. I'm going to end the poll. And share the results.
Do you all see it? You see the results showing up on your screen? No. Okay. Leo, can you share screen just to show everybody?
Okay.
Yeah, we realized that because we were both signing in as hosts, there's some issue with the polls, but Lillian will show you on her screen what she sees. You need to show your Zoom window, Lil.
Can't share Zoom window.
You can't?
Yeah. You can take a screenshot and show.
Okay, let's quit this part then. As you can tell, sometimes we are still learning, what Zoom can or cannot do. And we are very much like you guys on a journey and discovering what it can or cannot do and how it can serve us.
Now you can
Everybody
see the
sees it
result.
now.
Yeah.
I see thumbs up. Awesome.
Okay.
That's good. All right, I think I want to move on and give some room for question and answer. I just briefly touch on I mentioned that this is a quick poll. Again, its idea is to have some fun, right? This is some team members of mine in the Philippines. Can you imagine they just had a party together, dressed up for Zoom? And this is kind of funny, you normally just want to wear what's most comfortable, but they definitely made an effort. But it really communicated to me, hey, I just want to have fun, right? And even in this type of scenario, we still want to look good, right? And we want to hang out. So I think that's a key thing that's part of connecting or doing ministry via Zoom. How can we make it fun? I know there's been a lot about is Zoom secure? I think as far as I'm concerned, they are a multi-million-dollar company. They are doing whatever they can to make sure that communications is secure. Sure, there's been some issues that have brought to the concern. In this slide deck, which we'll share the link with you, there are some more resources you can read. But I just want to highlight that Lillian has already said that when you join, set up the meeting, which is what this is, right? This is a Zoom meeting or Zoom call. You now, by default, they will make it private in the sense that you need to have a password to enter. Okay. So, and what helps you also is don't just simply post that meeting ID into public platforms. So be careful where you share it, because the broader you share it, the higher chance somebody would click on that link to come in. So now they require a password to come in, but then also there's a waiting room feature. Some of you experienced that when you're trying to join this call, we had to admit you. So I mentioned earlier, say if you're not sure who they are, don't admit them. Then I also highlighted earlier that you can lock the room, right? So these are some things that are some good considerations and measures to take to make sure that your Zoom call is secure. Okay. Lil, can you tell us a little bit about Zoom webinars and why they're different?
Sure. So for meetings, as you have noticed, you can see all the people coming in, right, the different faces. But in a webinar, it's meant to function differently. It's meant to just highlight the speakers or the panelists who are speaking, and they can share their video and their screen. Attendees can only watch, right? Their faces will not be shown on the screen. So it's designed, webinars are designed for like large group, sessions, for example. Think of it as a virtual auditorium or lecture hall where you are, sharing information with a lot of people, and they can interact with you with the Q&A. So only in the webinar will you have the Q&A function at the bottom where people can send in their questions and then the panelists can answer. You can still have the poll and the chat function. That's the same for webinar and for Zoom. So yeah, so I think the main advantage for the webinar is that it's a more professional presentation, and they only see the speakers and the speakers' screens.
Okay, we don't have much time to talk about webinars, but we brought it up as an option for you to consider what it could be like as in doing ministry meetings. Lillian has a lot of experience doing Zoom webinars, and we are trying to document some of the process. We've hosted webinars where almost upwards of 900 people have joined. And so we are learning as we go, and we want to make sure that we share with you also. Okay, I want to introduce you to Angeline Ko. Some of you know, former staff with the Navigators in communications, and then she stepped up to start her own company and ministry related to digital storytelling. And recently I came across some ideas, heard her share like what she's experimenting with Zoom for ministry, and I wanted to give her some time to share about that. So Angeline, over to you.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm really glad to be here. Thank you, Simon and Lillian, for having me here. Okay, so I'll just share a little bit about myself briefly. I have been a caregiver for 6 times, and 5 of my loved ones have passed away. And right now, I'm looking after my 89-year-old mom. So I am part of a support group of caregivers. Now, you see here on the screen here, this was our first Zoom meeting 2 weeks ago. Okay, there are a couple of them inside here right now watching this. Now, my caregiver support group, the age range is between 50 to 75 plus. So you can imagine that they were all very nervous about going online. They're like, hey, I'm a dinosaur. Hey, I don't know how to do this. How? So they were all kind of panicking. Yeah, so, but the thing is, when we actually started the meeting, initially when we came in, everyone was trying to find what is where. Hey, I cannot come in, I cannot hear sound, I cannot see picture. But once we got into the meeting, okay, can we show the next slide? Okay, you see the topic here, techniques to build emotional resilience. This topic was set long time ago before COVID kicked in. Yeah, so we were debating whether we should go on or not go on with this meeting. You see, it's a very deep topic. It like needed a lot of sharing, a lot of deep reflection, you know. But in the end, once we already got the tech out of the way, we were able to really share very deeply, and everyone left that meeting feeling so like, wow, I blown away, and so looking forward to the next Zoom meeting. I guess this message is important for all of us because for the longest time, I've been working with all kinds of people and many are seniors. So when they hear digital, right, they say, oh, this is for the young people, it's not for me. But I guess COVID has changed everything. Now we all are forced to go online. So I want to encourage you that whichever group that you are involved with, this works. Yeah, and then the other thing I did was I started a Zoom weekly meeting with some of my missionary friends in developing nations because I realized that they also needed to learn how to use it. Yeah, so now some of them are using this for teaching, counseling, small group Bible studies, just various different things. And I've been getting very good feedback from them. So yeah, I really want to encourage you not to be afraid and press on. We will fumble. And by the way, just one thing else. When I offered to train them how to use Zoom, I had attended many Zoom meetings, but I had never hosted one myself. So I was actually just 1 week ahead of everyone. My tagline now is I'm flying the plane while building it. So go ahead and fly your plane, even though you haven't quite finished building it. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Okay, yeah, just a quick one. I just remembered. One of the things I did, which I found was needful, is that I needed to prepare their mindset. Like before the meeting, I sent them a text message and I said, hey, we are going to have our first Zoom meeting. These are the few words I banned from our conversation because why? I was receiving texts saying, I'm dinosaur, I'm mountain tortoise, I cannot. So I really psyched them to really change their mindset first so that when we came and we encountered problems, they were reminded that, oops, I cannot say that. Yeah. So that was very, very helpful, I think. Yeah, so just think about their experience and anticipate what hesitations or fears they may be going through and empathize with them. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much, Angeline. I really appreciate that. I mean, the posture that you take where it comes to learning and be a lifelong learner is so critical and so inspiring that seniors 50 to 75 are like stepping in. And what Angeline has told me also is that now the technology is not the issue, but it's an opportunity actually to connect. So I really want to affirm all of you on this call and watching the video as well to say, hey, keep learning, keep discovering. We will put in all the resources in that slide deck. Again, if you came in late, this is the link to the slide deck. Okay, I just want to mention that a lot of the links are in the speaker notes of the slide deck. So you see that they're already hyperlinks. You just need to click on it. Crew has provided a very comprehensive Zoom training. So if you click the link on Zoom training, it actually will unpack for you much more than this 1 hour can do. But I want to give some time for Q&A. You can unmute your mic and ask your questions, short question. And I want to clarify a few things for you. Please go for it.
Simon, Rebecca here.
Hi.
I just wondering, I share a worship song with my CD cell group member, but they can see the song, but there is no sound. So I just want
audio. Okay, understand. Let me try and pull up something to show you. Let's see here whether I have something I can bring up here. Okay, let me give you an example. Okay, I'm going to share this video again. Where's camera through? Okay, guys, can you see my window here? All right, so let's say I want to share this video by Edric. All right, this was recently played at our Ministry from a Distance webinar. So this is on a QuickTime player, which is in an MP4 format. All right, so you could also be playing something from YouTube. All right, so I want to screen share this. Again, I mentioned earlier in the window here. Here is where you find the screen share. Got it? So when I click screen share, okay, I'm trying to make this smaller here. You notice that I can share the desktop. I can share the QuickTime player, which is Edrickson's video, or the slide deck that you were following earlier. So I click this, Edrickson's video, right? Before you click share here at the bottom right, notice that it says here, share computer sound. And there's even an option to optimize screen share for video clip. So in this case, I am going to check both of them. Okay, follow so far. Then I'm going to share the video. Okay. Then I'm going to play and just to let you hear it.
Hi, I'm Edric. I'm a local pastor here in Singapore at a church called BBTC. I run 2 Christian websites, Salt and Light and Thirst. And I don't know.
Okay, you heard audio? Okay, so that's how you do it. I'll stop sharing now.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rebecca. Awesome question. Anyone else?
Related to the earlier question, is it true that when we share video, we will tell the participants to stop their own video so that it doesn't affect the transmission of the, it's not right? It's not true,
No.
right? Okay, all right. Just want
Don't
to
need
check
to. Your participants don't need to stop their video. When they share a video, it automatically takes over the screen. Yeah. So, and there are some options that you will prevent others from sharing because you don't want them to share indiscriminately. But if it's a safe group, people you know, then not an issue. Yeah. Thanks, Adrian. Other questions?
Hi, can I check with you for the breakout rooms? Are you able to allocate people into the breakout rooms before the meeting starts?
Yes, you can do that. If you know who's coming to your meetings in your meeting setup as showed by Lillian, there are some additional features that allow you to choose the breakout rooms and set them into the rooms. I've not done that as much, partly because sometimes you don't know who's going to show up and they may not come and that room will be too few people, you know. So I just do it on the fly or during the call. So it helps that when you are having a call that you have a co-host. So like, for example, Lillian is a co-host now. She's doing a recording. She's helping me mute people while I'm doing the slide share. If it's a webinar, you might need a few more people. So to manage the Q&A and other things.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, because I'm planning to do it for our live group, which is small, so it shouldn't be an issue.
That's great.
Thank you.
Angeline, you got a question?
Yeah, so is co-host available for free accounts as well?
Yes, you can make anybody a co-host. They don't need to have a paid account. Anybody can be a co-host. The only person that can confer the co-host status is the host, right?
And how many co-hosts can you have?
I don't think there is a limit, but you don't want to give out to too many people either. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's a very useful tool because someone like Lillian now is doing the back end of, helping some people to deal with tech issues or, taking note of questions so that you as the main host can pay attention to the audience.
Exactly.
Thank you.
This is Wei Yang. I have a question about scheduling recurring meetings.
Recurring meetings, yes, go ahead.
Because it seems like when I click recurring meetings, then I no longer get to choose the the date or the start time of my meetings. So I'm wondering whether it has got to do with the calendar I'm using, because this is when I do it on a laptop. It seems like if you use a phone to do it, then you don't get the same problem. Is that true?
Unfortunately, I don't have experience with that to answer it. I'm not sure whether it's a settings issue with your computer. I doubt it. Yeah, I wouldn't know. Lil or Angeline, have you experienced, or anybody else has the issue?
No experience. We're all still learning.
Sorry, Wen Yang.
Excuse me. Yes. Did Wenyan ask about having that in the mobile, in the cellular phone? What was the question exactly? If she could do what in her mobile?
I think Wen Yang was saying setting up the schedule, a recurring meeting from her mobile phone.
Yes, she can do it because I do it.
Oh.
I do it. Yes, you can do it.
Sorry, I set up my meetings usually using my laptop. And so when I try to schedule a recurring meeting, I cannot select the date or the start time for my meeting on my laptop.
Well, I do in my mobile, and I can do it. And of course in the laptop, as Simon did. I don't understand if I get your question, but I can do it in my cellular phone. So I can set up the time of the meeting. That was your question?
Yeah. Yeah, I think she's just saying she has
Yes.
troubles doing it from the computer. Yeah. Let me take this offline, Wen Yang, and let me research it and get back to you. But I suspect you got to set the date first before you click recurring. In case you did the recurring first, then it freezes that. So set the date and the time, then click recurring. Yeah. Okay. Other questions?
Yeah, I have a question, Simon.
Yes, Kapsu.
Okay, so when I try to using the background as like this, you can see my background. So my faces cannot show clearly. Do you know why is this problem?
You need a new computer. Just kidding.
Yeah, so but my laptop is
I
yeah,
think
MacBook Pro. So okay.
The reason is, okay, as far as I understand, I don't know all the technology, is to do with lighting. Okay, the computer is guessing what is background, what is foreground. So it's confused now that, okay, your face might be the background, or the color is very similar. So some people just use a more consistent background, like a green screen or something else. So the color of your skin is quite close to the color of your walls.
Okay, so because depend on the program update.
It's possible. I think more likely is to do with the lighting.
I think the Mac OS version, right? 10, 13 above.
I'm not sure about that, but as I said, I think it's more to do with the lighting. I think the computer is thinking that your background color is very similar to your foreground. Yeah.
Okay.
Sujong, are you using the Surface Pro?
Surface Pro?
Did you say what computer are you using?
I'm using the Mac Pro, MacBook Pro.
Mac Pro.
Yeah.
Mac Pro should be all right, actually.
Yeah, I think so.
So then it's probably the green screen effect.
Yeah. So when I use the green screen, say.
No, you really need a green
request
screen.
of the computer is not.
No, you need a real green screen behind you. That's what it means.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
then it will help.
That means where the green screen behind me, right?
Yeah, so you really have to have a cloth, the green cloth behind you.
Okay, I try later. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. All right, we have run out of time, and I want to honor you guys in making time for this. I want to encourage you to consider some next steps. So you can find more resources here in this link. And we've already created quite a number of resources on how you can do ministry from a distance. How do you reach people online? How do you disciple them? What does church look online? So just go to this short link, ndgt.us/MFAD resource. Check it out. There's a lot of very useful things there that can help you figure out, okay, beyond just the technicality of Zoom for ministry, which I hope today you got some good ideas, but this is an opportunity for you to take the next step. So on behalf of Angeline, Lillian, and myself, we are so glad you chose to join us for this 60 minutes. We hope it gave you some ideas. Again, go check out some of the links that are mentioned in the slides, and we'll see you soon. Let me know if you have further questions, but I want to bless you as you go about your day.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you.
You can unmute and say
Thank
goodbye if you
you.
like.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
Bye.
you.
A group picture.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Ay, gracias. Adiós.
Gracias.
Adiós.
Gracias, adiós.
En español tan linda.
Mi Lorena. Lorena de Ecuador. Love you.
Yes. Love you too.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you. I'm going to end the meeting right now. Thanks.
Alrighty, bye-bye.